Stand by for Bwana.org radio. In 3, 2, 1. Cue the announcer.
You found Bwana.org radio, your one source for tech news and reviews. Now, almost live from sunny Florida, here's your host, Bwana McCall.
Greetings, folks, and welcome to episode 248 of Bwana.org radio. We got a great show lined up. Episode 248. It's got 9. Count them. 9 bookmarks that we're going to discuss tonight. I know you're probably asking, Bwana, what's the deal, man? Only 9? Only 9 bookmarks, man? Yeah, only 9. But they're 9 good ones. So you'll be happy that I only chose 9. There was a lot of stuff that happened this weekend, and some things I chose not to talk about. You know, there was this blogging outlet that rhymes with Shiz Kodo that had some issues that happened, and you know, we talked about some double cash weekend stuff with Uncharted and a bunch of video game stuff that was happening. But you know, today I just wanted to focus on some tidbits that I thought you guys may be interested in. So that's why I focused on 9 stories to talk about. We're here live at live.bwana.tv. We try to do this every Tuesday and Thursday night around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we also are simulcasting. If you go to live.bwana.tv, you'll see a ustream.tv in bed. But we also simulcast on justin.tv over at justin.tv/Bwana. I'm using Wirecast, and I haven't talked about Wirecast a lot. I'm going to start mentioning them a little bit more, and you guys will see, you know, some of the benefits of using Wirecast. And Wirecast is a great piece of software by Telestream. It's how I'm able to do all these effects and these transitions and show my desktop screen. A lot of people think, how do you do that? What are you doing? I use Wirecast. So we got a great show lined up, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it, so stay tuned. We got a great show lined up for episode 248 of Bwana.org radio.
It's time for Bwana.org radio's tech news for this week.
And for our first story, dingy, we're going to talk about Avatar. No, not the last Avatar, like the last Airbender. And no, we're not going to talk about a little picture of yourself that denotes your personality online. No, this is the movie about the blue people. Yeah, you remember that movie that came out, I think it was last summer, about the blue people. And, you know, it was, if you've seen Pocahontas, you kind of got the sense, you know the storyline of Avatar. Don't want to ruin too much. But I saw the movie. I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I had, like I told people, I had expectations that were like pure. I didn't read any online reviews. I ignored all the online thoughts until after I saw it. And I went and I was like, hey, this was pretty good. And then I went and read all the online reviews. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they spent $17 gajillion on such a stupid movie. This movie was a waste of time. I can't believe they hyped it up so much. It was just a mediocre movie. They had all that money in there. Everybody was talking about it was going to be the best movie of all time. It was actually the worst movie of all time. I'm a movie critic on the internet. Anyway, check out this story, which kind of surprised me, that Avatar is now the infamous gray screen of death. Now, the Avatar has set Blu-ray sales records. Very, very surprising. I had a feeling that it was going to sell. I really believed that it was going to be up there with like Dark Knight and be up there with reference Blu-ray titles that people use, just show off the technology. I was really surprised to see that it sets sales records. It's like so many, like 4 million in the past for 4 days. I think it was 4 days. The overall disc sales of Avatar surpassed 4 million units, put it on track to be the year's top-selling release to date. And we've been talking about sometimes here on Bwana.org radio. We've been talking about these 3D TVs that are coming out and this 3D technology that's coming out. And we're moving towards a lot of 3D technology. Now, whether that 3D technology is going to stay remains to be seen. I don't really know. Some people think it may. I'm like, man, it's just 3D. I grew up in I was born in the 70s. I remember 3D movies from like The first movie I saw, I can remember there were 3D movies out there, especially like at drive-in movies and things like that. But Avatar, sans 3D, even DVDs are selling like hotcakes. So apparently this movie is doing very, very well. And I don't know if a lot of people expected that. Like I said, my expectations were pretty mediocre going into it. And even coming out of it, I didn't think it would sell as much. I talked to my wife after we watched it. I was like, well, maybe I think I'll buy this Blu-ray so I can watch it again to see the special effects, to see the behind the scenes, because there's a lot of advanced technology being used in this movie. I think that's why a lot of people went to see it, that are like online geeks and people like me. So check this out. This one's over on the worstpreviews.com. That's the actual name of the site, worstpreviews.com. Avatar sets Blu-ray sales record. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit to the PlayStation 3, but we're still going to be talking about sales. And we talked about Avatar selling Blu-rays and DVDs. Sony has been seeing a huge uptick in PS3 demand, PS3 sales, and just overall PS3 viewpoints on the internet and worldwide. It's getting a little bit more respect now. People are a little bit less likely to dismiss the PlayStation 3 when you talk about it, because it's starting to really prove itself with some blockbuster hits, and they've really cleaned up, and I talked about this before, they really cleaned up their marketing campaign, because if you guys remember, the first set of PlayStation 3 advertisements were confusing. It made you scratch your head, and Sony ended up firing that agency and going with the latest stuff, which has been doing very well. It only does everything. So this is what I want to talk about next, is the PS3 Slim has already outsold last year in just 6 months. It's already outsold last year. So now we're seeing more PS3s have sold this year till now than all of last year. That, my friends, is the definition of growth. It's amazing. Sony basically leaked their redesigned price cut, projecting of 13 million PS3 sales worldwide by the end of 2009. This target will likely be exceeded, but the results we have so far, things are definitely looking up. The fiscal results, they have a chart here showing the sales. 2008-2009 fiscal years, 2.4 million in Q1, 4.5 in Q2, 1.6 and 1.1 respectively, with a total of 9.6 million in fiscal year 2008-2009. Fiscal year 2009-2010, look at this, 3.2, 6.5, it's already sold 9.7 million dollars, or million units, if you will, which is an amazing feat. That is good to see if you're a Sony PlayStation 3 fan, because you'll see more support from third parties if the console's selling. Also, if you work for Sony, obviously it's good. If you're a 360 fan, you shouldn't be worried. We kind of encourage consoles to compete with each other. That's how we get good feature sets. That's how we get competitive prices. And when consoles are, when one dominates everything, that's when it's time to get a little worried, because that one dominant figure can really do what they want. And we really encourage competition in order to get features that we want at a reasonable price. Now, is this going to hurt the 360 or the Wii? I doubt it. But I think it's going to help everybody in the grand scheme of things. So check this out. This one's over on, what site is this? PlayStationUniversity.com. The actual first time I've read this site. Pretty cool site over there. So check it out. They got the details. Next story, we're going to talk about Google. And something that surprised me. Now, you may remember, I'm going to talk about cell phones a little bit. You may remember that Google released a phone called the Nexus One. And they released it initially on T-Mobile with hopes of coming to Vodafone and eventually Verizon. A lot of people were excited about that because they wanted the Nexus One on Verizon. Well, on Monday, this article kind of surprised me and a bunch of other people. Google, according to their Nexus One blog, has, quote-unquote, updated their partnership with Verizon. In other words, well, they're not going to sell the Nexus One on Verizon. I was like, okay. Instead, if you go to the Nexus One page, they say, well, why don't you get a Droid Incredible by HTC instead? It's an Android phone. Get that phone. Don't get the Nexus One for Droid. I was like, wow. And, you know, immediately my mind went to the limitations and all of the you know, the restrictions that Verizon imposes on their phones. And, you know, that was, to me, that was a big primary reason why I believe Apple didn't go with Verizon. That's why I believe Apple and Verizon couldn't agree, because they both have similar mindsets on having tight control of the ecosystem that they're utilizing. And when you got two, I always compare it to two spoiled brats. If you had two spoiled brats that want to have a Sweet 16 party together, and they have to agree on everything, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's how I see Verizon and Apple. Now, Google seems to be more open with their approach to the Nexus One, and I think my guess, my suspicion, I have no proof to back this, is that Verizon wanted to impose limits that Google probably didn't want to do. Google didn't want to, you know, to block Bluetooth or to, you know, block Wi-Fi sync. You know, Verizon has done stuff like that in the past, and, you know, for little or no reasons, to block custom ringtones. You know, you can only get ringtones through this store. You know, stuff that Verizon has done in the past that, you know, has just pretty much irked people. Google probably didn't want any part of that. That's my theory. No proof, like I said, but I do believe that the Nexus One is doing fairly well. The Android platform is doing very well. It's actually improving quite nicely. Good for us iPhone users, because we're going to see some real competition. That means Apple has to keep doing, keep innovating, and keep staying ahead of the game in a lot of areas, because when you got somebody like Android and Google on your tail, you know, you really can't sit back and become lazy and, you know, charge enormous prices for stuff that really isn't new. So check this out. This was over on the Google's the Google Nexus One blog. They got the details over there.
You're listening to Bwana.org Radio, a potpourri of tech news and reviews.
One new app that's been submitted to the iTunes App Store, we're talking about cell phones again, that I'm really excited about is an app that I wanted from day zero. When I first got my iPhone, one of the complaints I had was, man, I really wish that I could synchronize my iPhone over Wi-Fi. I mean, prior to the iPhone's release, Microsoft had ActiveSync syncing over Wi-Fi. And it was kind of ridiculous for Apple to just not include it. And I was like, why? What? It doesn't make sense. You can do it with the Apple TV. I mean, you can do it with other Apple devices. You can sync over Wi-Fi, because Apple TV does sync with iTunes over Wi-Fi. So why can't the iPhone? So I was really excited to see this next story, guys. And I really, really hope this goes through. There's an app that's been submitted to the iTunes App Store. All right. And it will allow iPhone to iTunes Wi-Fi synchronization. So you could theoretically, this is come into a Wi-Fi zone with your iTunes library or iTunes installation and tap a button on your phone and have it sync over Wi-Fi instead of walking all the way to your computer. I know this may sound like, oh, you're just being lazy. No, it's actually quite practical to do this. You come into a Wi-Fi zone and you sync your phone over Wi-Fi, go get your coffee, do something else. Then when you come back, it's done. And, you know, I'm really hoping this thing has been submitted. I really hope that it gets approved by Apple. If they can approve Opera Mini, I really think they can approve this. I was looking for this feature to come. Actually, the next iPhone. I was like, well, or the next iPhone OS revision. I'm like, they need to really get on, Wi-Fi sync, because that's something that's sorely missed on this platform. And I really believe that it should have been there from day one. The technology's there. I really didn't understand it. You know, a lot of things like copy paste and multitasking, you know, the phone probably really couldn't handle it. But the technology's already there. I mean, they got it for the Apple TV. and with Wi-Fi speeds, you know, being what they are, if you got long sync times, so what? We had long sync times anyway with the first revision of the iPhone. Remember that backup process that just took ages? So here's to hoping, guys, that this is actually going to make it through the approval process at Apple. Check this out. This is over on the iPhoneblog.com. They got the details. Yo, va there. Now, speaking of Apple, Apple is developing and has developed a bad track record with their notebooks in terms of heat. These things can cook food. They get so hot. I have the first revision of the MacBook Pro revamp. That was the Core Duo line, and it was really, really bad. And one of the first things I noticed when I got it, I told people, I was like, this thing gets really, really, really hot. And if you put it in your lap, you're gonna burn yourself. And this next story kind of is disheartening because Apple over time has been, you know, slowly improving the heat transfer and the cooling processes in their notebooks. Things have been getting down to reasonable temperatures for a notebook, kind of on the high side, but still they've been getting down to reasonable temperatures. Now with this, the next Core i7 equipped MacBook Pros, the CPU temperature has hit 100 degrees. Now, if you're an American like I am, I'm an American, we do things in Fahrenheit. 100 degrees Celsius is a lot hotter than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, guys, this is extremely hot. My MacBook Pro, you know, I average between 60 and 80 degrees Celsius, which is extremely hot. Even on, I have it on an external cooler, so, you know, it's extremely hot, like super hot. Oh, my goodness. And my PC that I just bought, it never gets over 45 degrees. Or the CPU, it never gets over 45 degrees Celsius, so it runs fairly cool. But man, 100 degrees Celsius. That is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's 212. You could theoretically, if you could put something on top of that CPU, because it is an internal CPU temperature. It's not the case. You know, if you touch the case, it's not going to be 212 degrees. But it's the internal CPU temperature. If you put some food on top of that, man, you got yourself a nice little makeshift stove. Put a pot on top of it. Make some bacon. Nice crispy bacon. Check it out. This one's over on Engadget.com. They got the details over there. Core i7 MacBook Pros, 100 degrees Celsius. That is extremely hot. Extremely hot. Now let's get into some fun stuff. Namely with some of the games that are out there. And I want to talk about Starcraft 2. I've been talking about it for the past few shows. And I'm real excited to see what the folks at Blizzard release when it does come out. They say I think it's at Q2, Q3. Like summerish time. They're targeting mid-year for a release. So with this latest patch that came out, they released a map editor, and we can now start to create our own maps. And people have not been wasting time. This is one of the beautiful things about PC gaming. People come up with things like this. Someone has created a Starcraft map that looks like a kart race. So essentially, they have a bunch of units running around. They have a video here, an embedded video on the link. They have a bunch of units running around this track, and it actually looks like they're racing around the track. It is ingenious that someone can take StarCraft and create a kart race map. Now, you obviously have to zoom down to the lower view, because it's usually with StarCraft and real-time strategy games, it's really like almost a top-down perspective with a little bit of an angle to it. So you can also come down to the unit level to do this. Watch the video, be amazed. StarCraft 2, somebody's already created a wacky kart race map using the new map editor. Check it out. That one's over on gossipgamers.com. Embedded videos there. You guys are going to trip out when you read that. Check it out. And speaking of kart races, if you're an owner of a PlayStation 3, if you're one of those people who contributed to that massive number I talked about earlier, you know about this game called Modnation Racers that's coming out very soon. This is akin to the folks at Media Molecule that have created Little Big Planet. If you're familiar with Little Big Planet and what they do there, you know that it really encourages creativity. You design your own levels. The possibilities are almost endless on what you can do with games like this. So they have, over on the PlayStation blog, posted a new trailer, which is giving us a sneak peek of the new mods that are going to be coming with the game. And they're going to include Ratchet & Clank, Kratos, and Nathan Drake of Uncharted 2. And you got to watch the video, see these little guys they've built. They have corresponding cards, look very, very cute. And they're also going to include Sackboy from the infamous, and it's funny I mentioned Infamous, from the infamous Little Big Planet. And funny, I should mention Infamous because I did see a related story over on PlayStation Lifestyle where they were talking about the guys over at Sucker Punch. They actually created a track that mimics the city. I forgot the name of the city in Infamous. And the guy has he's got the whole, if you played Infamous, there was a giant explosion in the beginning. They have mimicked the giant crater in the middle of a city, and you have to jump over that, and they have a track around. It's amazing. I should have talked about that tonight, but anyway, the game is looking very, very, very polished, very fun. I played in the early demo stages, and I was absolutely floored with how easy it is to create a very detailed, fun map. I mean, like 5 minutes, you have a great track. And that's without tweaking. That's without adding stuff with the advanced editor that they mentioned in that Infamous video I was talking about. You can add structures and power lines, and if you're in the city like they were in the Infamous thing. Modnation Racers, guys, this game is going to be a hit. Some people say, "Oh, it's just Mario Kart." Well, if Mario Kart adds a track editor, then yeah, I would say that. But when you add that element, I mean, this is what gets us addicted to a lot of PC gaming, just PC gaming thought processes, that you can create your own level, you can create your own environment, you can create your own map. That is something that cannot be done in Mario Kart, unless you hack the ROM or do something like that. But guys, check this out. I'm telling you, this is gonna. I'm already seeing this as being a recommended title already. I know I'm gonna get it. And I haven't been big into racing games lately, mainly because I got tired of it. It was the same old. But when you can create and share your own tracks, adds a whole new dimension to it. Check it out. This was over on the PlayStationBlog.com. They got the details over there.
You found Bwana.org Radio. Tech news and tech gadgets for the hardcore geek in all of us.
So, we're talking about games. And if you're looking to buy games, now's a great time, especially if you got a GameStop nearby, because they're having a pretty good deal. A pretty good, don't want to call it a fire sale, but they have $10 off coupons on a lot of high-quality titles. Check out this list. They're offering $10 off coupons for Assassin's Creed 2 for the PS3 and 360, Battlefield Bad Company 2 for the PS3 and 360, BioShock 2 for the PS3 and 360, Modern Warfare 2 for the PS3 and 360, Final Fantasy 13 for the PS3 and 360, Grand Theft Auto for the PS3 and 360, Little Big Planet Game of the Year Edition for the PlayStation 3, Mass Effect 2 for the Xbox 360, Monster Hunter Tri for the Nintendo Wii, New Super Mario Bros. Wii for the Nintendo Wii, Red Dead Redemption for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Convictions for the Xbox 360, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves for the PlayStation 3. This offer is good for the online store only. And the coupon code will be sent to your email address within 24 hours of order shipment. $10 coupon codes. $10 off from GameStop. That is a good list, guys. That is a great list of games. I mean, that's like the best games this year so far, in my opinion. I'm looking at the list. I'm like, they didn't leave anything off. What's not on here? That's everything. Oh man, check it out. This was over on Examiner.com. They got the details over there with instructions and links on how you can get these $10 off coupons that are on these great games. So check it out. And we're going to end tonight's show with a very surprising story. And I didn't see it coming. If somebody else saw it coming, I'm going to shake your hand virtually. Apparently, in the Activision Infinity Ward fiasco doodle, there are some new developments, and ironically, it doesn't have to do with Jason Sampella and what's his name? I don't remember the guy's name. Something West. It doesn't have to do with those guys. But this is a whole brand new lawsuit from a group that are calling themselves the Infinity Ward Employee Group. Apparently, the Infinity Ward Employee Group is a group of employees that are current Infinity Ward employees combined with previous or former Infinity Ward employees. They are going to sue Activision for $150 to $625 million, get this, for unpaid bonuses. And what's ironic about this is that, you guys may remember, I think I talked about this. Infinity Ward came out with this huge giant press release / statement saying that, oh, we're going to take care of our Infinity Ward employees because we are going to take Zampella's and West's bonus and add to their bonuses. Apparently that action is in breach of their contract. Activision Infinity Ward's contract, that's in breach of their contract. They can't do that. And the tone of this lawsuit is that Activision is keeping these employees held hostage with the bonus over their head. And, you know, the whole idea of they need to keep them around for Modern Warfare 3. And it's getting really ugly, guys. It's I really, there is, if Robert Bowling of 402 can comment on this, I would appreciate it. Is he part of this group? What's going on? It sounds like Infinity Ward has completely crumbled. It's not in the process of crumbling. It has. It's just a matter of time now. It's like your ship is caught into the gravitational pull of a black hole, and you're not in the new Star Trek movie. You're in a real black hole, and you just wait for it to get sucked in. Wow. There's more to this, but like I said, guys, this is a twist that I just did not see coming, and it's very weird that there seems to be nobody at Infinity Ward that is on Activision's side, except Robert Bowling. In terms of a public voice. Oh man, Activision is not looking good. See, Activision is painting a picture that Zampella and West were like the masterminds of the huge deception, and they're plotting, and you know, smoke and mirrors. They're doing all this stuff. Here's an independent lawsuit that kind of squashes that idea. Wow, check it out, guys. This is over on joystick.com. They got the details over there. A whole new twist, a whole new angle. What they twist with Infinity Ward and Activision. And that concludes episode 248 of Buana.org Radio. I want to thank everybody for listening up till now and coming by at the show. We're here live at live.buana.tv. We try to do it every Tuesday and Thursday night. Like I said before, we try to do it every Tuesday and Thursday night. Around 8:30, we go for about 30 to 40 minutes. So if you guys aren't doing anything, come by. You can chat with me. You can, chat with everybody else. We can talk about tech for a few bits. And, after the show, I do a short post-production show where, we just shoot the breeze and talk about nothing. But it's usually revolving around tech. So come on by. Also, I encourage you guys to visit my other avenues, like our forum at buana.org/forum. You can join our tech forums. We have a great community thriving there. We have a tech support and help section. Questions get answered in less than a day in most cases. So if you got a problem, come over there. We got a lot of smart guys over there that can really help you out. We also talk tech. We share humorous stuff. Very fun. You can also check out my video blog at Buana.tv and on youtube.com/ILBuffer, where I post video stuff. So thank you guys for coming by here. And I encourage you to check out my other stuff. All right, folks, that concludes episode 248 of Buana.org Radio. And I will see you next time.